from long-living reptiles who have been around since before the time of the dinosaurs, to a marine species that can technically live forever. Here are 5 of the oldest living creatures on Earth. Number 5. The Greenland shark has made countless headlines in recent years as the world's oldest living vertebrate, with some publications putting its age at up to 512 years. In a 2016 study, scientists radiocarbon dated the eye lenses of 28 specimens, and found one female to be an estimated 400 years old, but this method does not produce exact dates, meaning that she may have been young as a ripe 272 years or as old as 512 years. She was probably born during the 17th century. Like many other creatures with an extraordinary lifespan, the Greenland shark grows very slowly at just a centimeter a year. It is 150 years old and around 13 feet long by the time it reaches sexual maturity. Greenland sharks, which can grow up to 16.4 feet long, dwell deep in the cold North Atlantic Ocean. While it is rare to spot a sexually mature Greenland shark, research says that there will be a century where their number grows. Number 4. Back in 2009, scientists verified that deep-sea corals are some of the world's oldest marine creatures, with the discovery of a 4,265-year-old black coral, off the Hawaiian coast. The species Leopiths is the older one of the 2 the researchers collected. Atenist estimated 2,742-year-old, a gold coral called Gerardia, was the other sample that was impressively ancient too. These findings show that deep-sea coral skeletons grow much more slowly than scientists previously thought, increasing at a microscopic rate of just a few micrometers annually as the skeletons build. The tiny living polyps inside are replaced continuously over hundreds, or in this case even in thousands of years, growing at depths between 1,000 to 10,000 feet. Deep-sea corals may seem safer from the effects of climate change than shallow corals, but they're not. They face the added threats from bottom trawlers. They are also equally important to their ecosystem, serving as housing for the other creatures and attracting biodiversity. Number 3. Sponges are simple creatures. They don't visibly engage in many of the cognitive activities that, in our eyes, identify something as a living being, like communicating and moving freely throughout the environment. But they are, indeed, living organisms, and while their lifespans vary, many sponge species can survive for thousands of years. A 2014 study published in the journal Aging Research Reviews determined the age of one particular specimen of the Monorhapis chuni sponge species to be around 11,000 years old. It's much longer than the known lifespan of any other creature on Earth. Scientists, to further explore its biological functions and other aspects of its longevity, including the simple question of how any creature could possibly live so long. Monorhapis chuni, a deep-dwelling species, grows up to 10 feet long and was discovered between 1898 and 1899 during the Valdivia expedition, which searched the dark depths of the oceans to learn about the previous life forms. Number 2. In mid-2018, researchers reported the discovery of 2 ancient nematodes, or roundworms, who came to life after spending roughly 40,000 years frozen in the Siberian permafrost, and being thawed out in a scientific laboratory, making them the oldest living creatures on Earth. And would constitute as the longest living animal has survived being cryogenically frozen. The viable specimens, both of which are believed to be female, were reportedly discovered among 300 Arctic permafrost soil samples by a team of Russian scientists working with researchers from Princeton University. They were stored in a lab at -4 degrees Fahrenheit, before being defrosted in a petri dish and kept in a 68-degree environment for several weeks. Eventually, they started to show movement and started eating. The findings could yield valuable insight in several scientific fields including cryobiology and cryomedicine, according to a statement the team released. Some experts challenged the extraordinary claim. Number 1. Turritopsis stornii, also called the immortal jellyfish, is the only known creature that can technically live forever. These tiny creatures, which have up to 90 tentacles, only grow to 0.18 inches (4.5 millimeters) long. Discovered in the Mediterranean Sea in the 1800s, the immortal jellyfish begins life just like all the other jellyfish. As a bottom-dwelling larva called a planula grows into a colony of polyps and spawns multiple genetically identified jellyfish. Just weeks later they've already reached adulthood, which may cause one to mistakenly think that the species has a relatively short lifespan, but this specimen has a unique trait that enables it to developmentally regress back to a polyp in response to perceived threats, physical damage, and even starvation. The reborn polyp resumes the life cycle, normally growing into a colony and spawning more genetically identical jellyfish. This cellular process is called transdifferentiation and has captured scientists' attention for its potential medical use.